Hi, I'm Craig David Dowsett. I play Winnie the Pooh, and you're listening to On the Slab Horror Show.
Hello and welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why we do this on a Friday night? Because Friday night is horror night. Now, for my guest, being kind of all over the place, you mightn't get that reference. In Ireland in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a channel called Channel 4 that used to show horror movies, all the classic horror movies after 9 o'clock when the watershed ended as a free to air. So we put this out as a little tribute to that.
Oh, that's cool. That's super cool.
Because it was an awesome time. Didn't matter how many films you rented, you always got your free one on a Friday.
That's great.
And you had to watch it. It didn't matter what it was. It was just it wasn't an option to miss it.
Oh, that's super great.
Now, but tonight's guest is another special one for me. Obviously, friends of the show will watch and know that there's certain movies that I've adhered to and that have become my favorites. I've also got to sit down with the directors of 3 of my top 5. This will be director of 4 of one of the top 5. And this is writer and director, Mr. Rob Schmidt. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm so pleased to be here. Yeah.
Absolutely. I just, as it says, you directed one of my top 5 favorite horror films. And like the back catalog doesn't lie. I mentioned it on numerous occasions. The movie in question is Wrong Turn in 2003, and it's fucking awesome.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But yeah. before we get into that, obviously, thanks for taking the time out of your evening to come on. I know you're European based now.
Yeah.
So time zones are actually relatively close for a change for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I don't think I've actually done an interview where the person I'm doing it with is actually ahead of me in the time zone. So that's something.
Maybe you'll get Luca Guadagnino for Suspiria or something. He's over here.
Yeah, there's a fair few over there now. All right, Italy's having a resurgence in horror at the minute.
That's interesting. I'm really out of touch right now. It's kind of ironic because of Wrong Turn, but I live like on a little farm in the middle of nowhere, and I kind of just like I watch true crime stuff on YouTube mostly. I'm sort of out of touch with everything right now.
You'd get on with my wife. I can't stand any of those things.
Oh, really? Yeah.
She loves all that true crime stuff. I couldn't. No, it's not.
Yeah. Some of it is I'm actually burning out on. I can't watch anything with kids anymore. You know.
Yeah, you just get angered.
Yeah, and I just feel bad, But the other stuff I watch.
No, my missus watches all them now, and like if we're getting ready to go out or something, you go into the room when she's doing her makeup or whatever, and it'll be on in the background.
Yeah. I used to make some of those. I did Dead Silent and Swamp Murders and what was the other one? Anyway, yeah, I used to do crime TV, so
nice.
Yeah, it's good fun to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, work is work, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I like those. They're interesting. The trick with them is that the villains are often more interesting than the victims,
But theoretically, that's the way in probably most horror films, isn't it? Everyone's more intrigued by why the killer's doing it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And actually, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, the lead actor they act as a proxy for the audience. And so they should be like, good looking and charming, but they can't, if they're too strong, if their personality is too strong, it's harder to kind of like drift into the movie,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into writing and directing?
Sure. Yeah. Let me think. I had really mixed feelings about horror films as a kid. I when I was really, really small, I saw Wizard of Oz and the witch melting effect. I don't know if you remember that, like the
I
original.
hate that. I hate that movie, the
It-
Judy
it-
Garland one.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
why do you hate it? What part of it do you hate?
So for me, like where we lived and when I was younger, we used to go over. My man and I used to play pitch and putt over beside where my ma grew up. And when we go over there, it just seemed to be on every single Sunday.
Oh, oh yeah,
Every
yeah,
single Sunday we went to be on. So I'd be sitting there going, "Oh my god!" Um, for me, it's just not a story that I ever really liked. Even as a kid, when I seen it the first time, just did
yeah.
just wasn't for me. Not to say that it's not a great movie and it looked fantastic for the time, but it's just not for me. Now you stick on when I was younger, I used to stick on Jason and the Argonauts, and
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'd sit there and watch that time after time after time,
Yeah.
and
No,
you
that's
never get
super
bored.
cool. But the thing I just want to say the thing about the Wizard of Oz was not the whole movie; it was the witch melting. Because as a really little kid, the idea that like an evil creature could dissolve in water was terrifying to me, and the effect, the gag. I guess they like I don't know, they had like a hollow floor or something like that.
Pulled
But
her in, yeah.
I really thought she was liquefying, and I thought there like she would still be evil as a liquid. And
I mean, that works. I mean, that'd be the logical thought, really, wouldn't it?
yeah, yeah. But I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy watching it, but I could not stop thinking about it.
I mean,
Like
though, I'd say at the time as well, like when you see that as a kid, it's terrifying. Like I can't remember the first time I seen it, but I
yeah,
seen it that often. It probably didn't phase me then.
yep, yeah,
But like,
yeah.
I still remember the effects. It still looks amazing now. Um, but
Yeah, sometimes practical effects are just like incredible. They
no,
the
practical are king.
yeah, they're so cool.
Yeah.
Um, that thing about being scared though is interesting as we're talking about it. Your kids are a lot younger than mine. Mine are in college now, but I remember when my kids were really, really little, like maybe 3 and 4, watching I want to say Mary Poppins. And that movie is a movie that has nothing scary in it at all. But when the kids get lost in the city, at one point they go into an alley and a dog like jumps out and like barks at them.
Yeah.
And I I don't even blink at that, but my kids are both like they had terror around it,
Oh,
yeah, so it's I mean it's age appropriate, but it's just interesting that like the effect that like we have with like an R-rated horror film they had with Mary Poppins.
but I suppose though that comes with age. Like my youngest, I she we watched. I can't remember what it was, but it was nothing. Like it was a cartoon, but she was. Oh no, I watched. Sorry, excuse me. The Never Ending Story with them. Relatively recently enough. The mammy went out, so we had a film night, and I watched Never Ending Story with them. But you remember the wolf in it?
I can't remember Never Ending Story, but what happened in the room?
She was not best happy. She was behind the blanket. But there's also one of the characters in it is like a big giant rock man. And when that came out, she didn't like that either. But one night me and herself, before we rearranged what way our sitting room was, the sofa used to take up half the sitting room behind the door and the telly would be in front of us. She'd snuck in from pretending to be in bed, sat behind the sofa and watched Beetlejuice while we were watching it and didn't phase her.
ah
Uh,
wow.
yeah,
That's interesting because it's cute. Is it? I guess it's cute. It's all cute. Like Beetlejuice is scary, but
it's funny, scary, yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I've what like we're watching. Remember the original Goosebumps?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm watching the original TV show of Goosebumps now with my son.
Oh, that's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, so we're myself, herself, and himself watch it when the other one goes to bed and things like that. So I've tried. I've gone through some of them with her, but the little one will be more like me than he will. She seems to
Yeah.
love horror. She loves Wednesday. She loves the Addams Family. She loves
Oh, that
all
makes
those kind of
sense.
things. I was like, okay, at least one of my kids might like something I like.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
So
Um, yeah, why did I get on? Oh, you were asking about how I got into film. And honestly, I when I was thinking about college, I was thinking about becoming a labor organizer, like going to this school that was about industrial and labor relations. And then but I liked film too, and then I got a partial scholarship at a art school in New York, the state school, SUNY Purchase, and I decided I would go there, and then and just see how it was, and then I decided like that it would just be depressing to be a labor organizer, and I started working on music videos, like as a production assistant, and then actually my first job was painting sets on a Hall and Oates music video. You know that old band Hall and Oates?
I
You might
know
not.
I know of them. I'm not a huge music guy.
No, they're not. I mean, they're just like a pop music band. But like, I was so excited that I was like, it's a famous band that you hear on the radio, and I get to paint the walls for their.
Soul.
Yeah, but like at that, when I was like 18, 19, that was amazing. It was so great.
Yeah, but
And
I mean, you have to start somewhere.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, totally. And actually I really enjoyed that work. I really liked being on crews, and I came up through camera and lighting. Like I started after that I started working as a production assistant, getting coffee and cleaning up and whatever. But I would hang out with the camera department in the grip and lighting departments. It's a little different in the States the way that's done than it is in Ireland, I think. But just those technicians. And I started getting hired as a lighting technician, and then I started getting hired as a camera assistant. And
You've got to pay the bills somehow.
yeah, no, it wasn't just paying the bills though. It was fun. Like it paid really well, so I could it was freelance, so I could just work a few days a month and pay my rent, and then work on my own short films and whatnot. And
Nice.
it was fun. It was like being in the circus.
I mean, like I'd say though that would be pretty cool because like you could be on, say, for instance, you could say Star Wars one day, and you go to Jaws another day, and like I'm not saying you were on those, but like you could jump from any kind of different films that are going.
Yeah, no, and actually, I was not on those, but I was on a commercial once called "Around the World with Hertz," I think it was, like Hertz car rental. But we got to like travel like all over Europe and all over like the US and to Hawaii. And I remember it used to be at Universal. There's like a Universal amusement park, the Universal Studios, and
Yeah,
they had a Jaws exhibit. I don't know if they still have it, but it was like you're on this train, and then at one point there's a lagoon, and like the mechanical Jaws leaps up,
that
and
the Orlando one was it?
it was the Los Angeles one, the one in
Okay.
Los Angeles. But I remember being like, an assistant. So I was like right by the camera. I was an assistant camera. I'm right by the camera, and we're right behind this shark, where the shark like leaps out of the water at people. And I felt like I have arrived. I'm at the center of everything. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, I was like, yes.
Well, I mean, that's a great job to pick up though. You got to travel with a company as big as Hertz is. Like that's a worldwide company.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that stuff was great. And I worked on all sorts of music videos and commercials and things like that. And I got to see like I you know, if you're a technician, you're on set a lot. And if you're like a lighting or camera technician, you're near the camera and the action is near the camera, you know? So I would get to be like by where the director and the director of photography were, you know, talking about what was going on. And I would get to see what was happening, like for hundreds and hundreds of days, which was awesome.
I mean, like, you're not going to learn in a better place than right there in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it was great. It was great. Although, you know, there's another thing that I did that was really hard for me. Is you know, I'm a big guy. I'm like 193 centimeters tall, you know, and
What's that,
I'm not
6'2", 6'3"?
6'4". I'm 6'4".
Oh, so
Yeah,
you're bigger.
I don't.
You're bigger than
Maybe
I am.
I might have the metric system wrong. I'm new to it, but I'm 6'4". I didn't know if your audience was metric or English, but anyway, for a while when I was young, I worked as an assistant uh, for a photographer, and all that we did was we photographed jewelry and gemstones, and it was like a little tiny, like this little table with like a ring on it, and we would spend like an hour making everything perfect to photograph the ring, and we would do that like a month straight for 12 hours a day, you know, and
No.
it was brutal. And I would actually, sometimes I would go out in the hallway. A lot of times we'd be in a hotel room, and I'd like go out to like the fire stairwell to smoke a cigarette. And this is going to sound pathetic, but sometimes I would cry because it sucked so much. I was like, this sucks. And
Oh, well, I mean, if you're not happy, you're not happy. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I gotta say, like, that working at that little table with like six lights, moving them around a little tiny gemstone, like when I finally got to big sets, you know, when I finally got to really big sets or outside night exteriors, and they're like, we have a crane and we have to put the moon up. We have to set with this crane. We have to move a light up into the sky and decide where the moon's going to be for the night. The crane's not going to move. Like I knew where to put it because I had done it so many times on the little tiny table.
The delicate nature of learning on how to do stuff.
Yeah. So it was good. Like in hindsight, it was a really good thing, you know?
Yeah, and then obviously you go from there through the ranks to become a director along the way.
Yeah. So while I was working in camera department, I was making short films, and then I went to I when my dad died, I decided that I was drinking too much beer and not getting a lot done, and I applied to graduate school for film, and I went to American Film Institute for directing. It's
Nice,
like it's a film school in Los Angeles. You know, it's a
nice.
good film school, yeah, and I was lucky that I got in there. And yeah, and I went to school with Darren Aronofsky, who did like Black Swan, you know, and with Mark Waters, who did Mean Girls and things like that. I got to be with like really cool people. But so after I finished at AFI, I was working in camera department, but I really wanted to get to make a feature as a director, you know, and it was it took up so much time to think about cinematography that I decided that I wouldn't do that, and I would just I would get jobs as there's a thing called like a rigging gaffer. I would get jobs as like an electrician or a grip, or like the best job for me was rigging gaffer, because I wouldn't even be on set. It would be like the set they were going to shoot the next day, and I would just be running lights, but like putting lights up. But
Nice.
I could be on the phone and like trying to get my movie set up, you know, while I was with my tool belt and like running electric cables, and there was no one to bother me.
Old school with the old headpiece.
Yeah.
Nice. Hanging
Yeah,
off
yeah,
the
yeah.
ladder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that was and then I you know, and then I I directed some music videos, then I did my first feature, I guess. Yeah, is how that works.
Saturn, was it?
Saturn, yeah. It
Or
got
Saturn,
released. No, that's cool. It was Lionsgate released it as Speed of Life, I think, but the original title was Saturn, yeah.
That's the
And
one
that
with
was it.
James Caan.
Yeah,
Guy from Hawaii Five-O.
yeah, super good guy. Like a lovely guy.
Scott
Really
Caan.
good guy.
Scott Caan.
Scott Caan, yeah. James Caan is his dad. Yeah. Sorry about that. Scott Caan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is it his dad?
Yeah, that's his dad.
Oh, another good actor.
Yeah, awesome. Amazing actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plays a really good bad guy in almost everything that he's in.
Yeah, yeah. He's even good in Bottle Rocket.
Can't say I've seen that.
Oh wow, you should see Bottle Rocket. It's a comedy, but it's you should see it.
Even in terms of Elf,
Yeah.
he was brilliant as the bad guy dad, the dickhead
Yeah.
dad.
And I mean, he's in The Godfather, you know, like.
Yeah, well, what more do you need to say about that?
Yeah. No, totally.
I remember seeing this when I was younger. I couldn't tell you what happened in it now, but I just know I've seen it.
Yeah.
I watched the ad for it before we came on, and I was like, "Oh, I've seen this movie."
Oh.
But obviously I can't go too much into that. But that's obviously your first directorial feature.
Yeah, it was my first feature. Yeah, and my second was a movie called Crime and Punishment in Suburbia.
That's the one with Monica Keena.
Yeah, Monica.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you?
Freddy vs. Jason?
Yeah. Have you gotten to talk to Monica? She's.
No.
I wonder if she might do your show. Yeah, Monica's awesome. I was just talking with her the other day.
Nice.
Yeah.
She's gone on to have a stellar career as well.
Yeah. She has. Yeah, she's a really good person. And
I've noticed a resurgence in her name popping up lately. Again.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
So I can't remember what I seen. She's going to be cast in something, or she was cast in something recently that I know. Hold on, what is it? Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that one. Michael Ironside as well as in Crime and Punishment. So you didn't have a small cast.
No, it was a good cast. Yeah, I've worked with Michael. What I do? He was on Alphabet Killer, and then I did this. There was this TV pilot that I really liked. It didn't get picked up. Little tiny TV pilot called Fran K. It was like kind of like a mashup of Frankenstein and what's the Charlize Theron film where she's a serial killer? Monster. It's
the one the thing won the Oscar for.
Yeah. But this was like I say it's a mashup because it's like a modern retelling of Frankenstein. Only the monster is this woman who like homeless girl who's a prostitute who's gay, and she kills a bunch of guys that sexually assault her, and then when she's executed, she makes a deal to be a lab to have her body. She gives her body up to science, and they like
reanimate her.
Yeah, and not in a nice way.
I mean, I'd have watched it. I've watched some random stuff in my time. It definitely sounds like something I'd watch.
I'll send you a link to it. I'll send you a link to it.
Awesome.
See, I'd like to hear what you think.
What is it? One episode?
Just one episode, yeah. Just the first episode, and it wasn't done for very much money, but I think it's good.
I mean, like people say that, right? And people get the wrong idea of films. Oh, they don't have a massive budget, so I'm not going to watch it. Why? Do you know what I mean? Just because it doesn't have a massive fucking 200 million quid budget doesn't mean it's not good.
No, totally. I think David he did Canadian director, amazing horror director who like moved into mainstream. He did David Cronenberg. He said hope I don't piss anyone off by saying this, but he said that for every $1 million over 5 million, there's another asshole on set. And
but you know what? That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's
Not not
different.
not 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 slating people that come on board or the film backers, but there's
Yeah,
another person that you have to keep happy
yep, yep,
and
and
that will want their say in the movie.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a much nicer way to say it, Greg. Um,
Yeah. Diplomatic, diplomatic
yes,
community, and all that.
yes, yeah. But that, and I guess hmm, I don't like them very much, but like, there's a business in stuff like Marvel movies, obviously, and those are, hundreds of millions of dollars. But the stories aren't good. I don't think. There's other stuff in them that's good, but
I recently only watched the phase 1 to Endgame saga with the kids recently. I still love them.
yeah, I mean, that's just it. It's like, you can, like, that there's nothing wrong with them. It's just like, it's like different types of food.
Oh yeah,
And like,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, and that's like, it's like a Marvel movie's like going to Disneyland, sort of, only with more excitement, I think.
I
Which
do
is
believe they
cool.
were. Oh, it was oversaturated. The market was for a long time, where you were getting, geez, you were getting 2 Marvel movies every year nearly.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting.
But then again, you could say the same about horror. Like horror will go through peaks and troughs of certain types of films where you'd have paranormal, you'd have creature features, you'd have animal attacks, you'd have slashers. Do you know what I mean? It seems to run through like highs and lows and full circles of types of movies that just keep coming out. And all of a sudden, recently, probably in the last 2 years, obviously everything that was Disney that went to free IPs. So obviously you had Winnie the Pooh, you had Peter Pan recently. Bambi's another one that's going. Do you know what I mean? You're getting all these kids films now that are being turned into horror films. And don't get me wrong, they're fun to watch. Like
Yeah,
I know Craig and I know a couple others that were in the Winnie the Pooh movie, and like it was fun to watch. It was. Do you know what I mean? Was it
yeah.
great? No, but was it fun and original to an extent? It was. Yeah.
There's this cool thing. This German producer, actually Robert Kulzer, who did he was one of the producers on Wrong Turn, and he also did I can't remember, but he said this thing about someone was saying that this movie was cheesy, and he said, hey, sometimes a little cheese is good. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Arnold
yeah.
Schwarzenegger made his name off it.
What's that? Say again?
Arnold Schwarzenegger made his name off cheesy movies.
That's
Sylvester
right. Yeah.
Stallone done the exact same thing.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
Totally true.
like literally today, I watched the 1995 Judge Dredd. Do you know what I mean? Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Talk about, you might as well have made that for a block of cheese. But sure, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, no, not at all. Yeah.
It worked for the time. Mortal
Yep. Yep.
Kombat. Mortal Kombat was cheesy as fuck.
Yep.
And it's still
Yep.
low. Do you know what I mean? You can't you
Yep.
can't you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
But sure, it is what it is. But you mentioned there obviously the movie that's in my top 5. Possibly it's actually in my top 3.
Oh,
Like when I tell people this, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's the because obviously the franchise has gone on to have 6 movies and now a reboot, and people aren't fond of it, and some people are, and they're like, oh, they're crap, they're this, they're that. I don't think so. Like when I say that it's legitimately probably my favorite franchise to watch, as I watch them all. I know you only done the first one,
yeah.
but the first one was where it started for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll tell you, me and one of the lads, we used to have a video shop beside us, and they used to do 5 DVDs to rent for 5 nights for €5, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So we used to go over there. No offense to you, right? But we used to go over and look for the worst cases we could find and try and find the worst movies, right?
Mhm.
Just for something to do and see if we could find any sort of hidden gems in it, right? Now we found Wrong Turn out of it.
Oh, cool.
We found Dog Soldiers out of it.
Cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
There was a couple other ones that have come, but like from 2003, probably 2004, when we seen Wrong Turn the first time, I watch it at least once a year.
Oh wow! Oh, that's so cool. You know,
Like legitimately.
yeah, no, that's so cool. When you said the thing about the DVD store, the video store, it reminded me of you know, in the French New Wave, all of those guys that were like the young cool filmmakers then, they before they made films, they didn't have video stores at that point, but there was a movie theater that like was open 24/7. And it bought, yeah, and it bought prints. They would just buy prints of movies that had already gone through the theaters, you know. Because at that point they would either like destroy them to collect the silver, or they might sell them for a little bit more than that. And they had this giant library of movies there, just from all over the world. And they would just randomly put movies on, and people would go into that theater like bums would go in there to go to sleep and stuff like that. But these they were kids at the time, you know, teenagers. They would hang out in there and just watch like they'd watch like a western, and then like a Japanese sword film, and then you know like a French horror film from the 1930s, you know. And they just saw all these different types of cinema, and it like inspired them, you know. It
But
made
then
them what
again,
they ended up being.
you're after saying there, then theoretically, right? You're going on how these have done it to how a different style has done it to a different style. Do you know what I mean? And it'll probably help them in the long run that obviously they mightn't have time now to sit down and watch 300 movies a year. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, you have an idea. But where did how did you come about getting into Wrong Turn?
Yeah, I really wanted to do a horror film. I just done like you know, Crime and Punishment was a Sundance movie that got it did pretty well. It got like 2 thumbs up in the States with the like the big review show there and all that. And then I wanted to do a horror, and I want to say I was having a meeting at Dimension, and they asked if I wanted to do a Hellraiser sequel. And I was really like stoked. Like I was like, yes. And then and I got out of the meeting and I called my agent. I was like, hey, they said I could do a Hellraiser sequel. And she was like, I won't represent you if you do a Hellraiser sequel. And but then after that, she started getting the horror scripts. And I met on Wrong Turn, and I met on the remake of Texas Chainsaw and some other stuff.
The '03 one?
Yeah, the '03 one. Yep.
I
Yeah.
fucking love that '03 remake.
It's really good, right? Yeah, it's really good.
I actually have that '03 remake ahead of the original.
Oh, that's I don't know. I don't know if I feel that way about it, but it's good. It's definitely good.
See, I obviously there's many debates between myself and the old co-host that started the show. Texas Chainsaw is one of his favorite films. For me, that original one is perfect right up till the dinner
Yep.
scene, and then I'm
Oh,
just gone. I'm like, once the granddad comes back from being a fucking skeleton in the attic and starts coming back to life, I'm just like, no, I have no interest in this movie. If they stopped it there for me, it's perfect.
interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I can see that. I still I'm frightened of it all the way through, but I hear you. I hear you on that. What was I going to say? You know what else I met on that I think about every once in a while? The remake of Dawn of the Dead. And
Oh, the Zack Snyder one, also better than the
yeah,
original.
yeah. I'm fond of the original, but a thing that I think that the Zack Snyder is really great. However, like the script, like the thing that was like the prize of the script was the dog zombies. Like it doesn't work very well in the movie, but
No,
in the script it's amazing. It's like it's the best sequence in the script. And so that movie got ruined for me because when it got to the dog zombies, I was like, yes, the dog zombies. And then the sequence was no good, you know.
yeah, the Ty Burrell one.
Yeah,
Is it Ty Burrell? The man from Modern Family, he gets killed by it, doesn't he?
I can't even remember. I just remember being disappointed. I think it
Um,
doesn't even make sense, you know.
but
But
the one of my favorite bits in that is when the half a zombie is crawling along the pipes.
yeah.
Brilliant.
that movie has all sorts of good things in it, and the lead is really good. Like when he is just like, this is the only thing I've ever been good at. Like, when it was a normal world, he was just a loser, but
Yeah,
he does okay in like the apocalypse. It's like I was actually touched by that.
yeah. Like that movie had the like obviously it was never gonna be as popular as people wanted it to be because of the name.
Mm,
Um, Same as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If that was called something else, you were onto two fucking rippers.
mm.
Obviously you had Freddy versus Jason then the following year as well, but that had been mounted for a while.
When I met on the remake of Texas Chainsaw, I asked the producers why they were remaking it, because it was, I just hadn't thought much about business at that point, and can't remember who it was, but one of them said 95% of movie audiences know the title Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but only 5% of audiences have seen the original movie. And that was the reason they remade it. It was like the total business thing. Like they had like, it was a brand that like, they didn't have to, usually with a movie, you have to introduce people to what it's about. And that costs a lot of money, but you don't have to do that with like a remake.
I was one of the first ones around that time that started that rebooting bullshit that came with it.
Mm.
Now, don't get me wrong, as I said, those two were brilliant, but my god, did they make some bad ones along the way?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I used to, when I was younger, I would get angry about it. Now I'm just like, it's just business. I don't have to see it if I don't want to.
It makes money, but like for me, Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite horror film. Like
Yeah.
first horror film I ever seen that I remember. Um, yeah, and when I went to see that 2010 remake, I went to the cinema, sat down, I watched it for 2 hours. I walked out and I was like, I don't know if I like that or not. So I went again the next day and I walked out and I was like, I hate it. Hate it.
Uh,
Fuck, mate, it is abysmal. I'd as much take a Rob Zombie Halloween over that.
mm.
And they were so bad. I'd take the Poltergeist remake over it.
I haven't even seen the Poltergeist remake.
Yeah, that
You,
don't
you,
get
you, you're reminding me, the movie Wes Craven's New Nightmare?
that's fantastic.
Yeah, well, I had dinner with Tracy Middendorf, who's the babysitter in that, just a few weeks ago, and she's just like, I've known her for a really long time. She's just a really lovely, lovely person. Really
Nice.
great person. Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
seen I watch that franchise a lot of the times and normally I stop at that one. Um Surely because before we moved here I had them all on DVD, but my New Nightmare didn't work.
Oh.
So I've gone so long without seeing it and I'm like, oh, and now I have to rewatch it.
Yeah, you should watch it. Watch it for the babysitter. She's amazing.
I actually got to do an interview with do you remember the hall monitor in the first one? No running in the halls.
Can't remember. I can't remember. I could Google it, but how was the interview? What did they talk about?
Oh, it was great. Like as I said, it's my favorite film. So I was just there. I was like, yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Ah, that's cool. I actually I had the worst meeting ever with Wes Craven. I mean, it wasn't, he was lovely, but it was I was pitching this African zombie movie that I really love, but it was in his office, and it was during, there were fires in LA, like in the mountains there were fires, and I thought they were going to cancel the meeting because, like, the fires were getting close to LA and all that. They were like, no, we want to have the meeting. And they sat me in front of a window, and behind the view was the hills above LA burning, like with fires on them. And it was Wes Craven and a couple of other people sitting looking past me at the fire to see if it was coming out. Like
So
I'm trying to describe this story, and they're just like,
I mean, like, yeah, maybe it would have went better if they were sitting the other side and you were looking
yeah,
out. But like,
yeah,
that's unfortunate. But like, at least you got to meet Wes
y-
Craven.
yeah. That's
Like,
true. Yeah,
like I said to you there, and in the intro. So 4 of my 5,
I figured it out. I figured it out.
yeah,
Yeah, you're not going to get to. Yeah.
yeah. I won't get to, for some reason or another, one reason or another, I won't get to interview Wes Craven, and if I do, there's something fucking wrong. Um, but I've got to sit down with yourself now for Wrong Turn. I've got to sit down with Neil Marshall, who done Dog Soldiers and The Descent,
Yeah, yeah.
and I got to sit down with Buddy Cooper, who done The Mutilator, and I was like, yeah,
You know, I um I owe Neil Marshall an apology actually because I was a judge at the Brussels um, Horror Film Festival. You know, the I can't remember what it's called, but um, and we had to. Michael Ironside was a judge there too when The Descent played, and we had to watch. It was the first time I was a judge at a film festival, and we had to watch like it seemed like 100 movies in like 10 days. Like it was a lot of movies, like 4 or 5 movies a day, you know. And by the time we got to The Descent, like there were people, some of the judges were falling asleep, you know. They would
no,
like, yeah, but it was because of it was like we were so saturated with movies. And I feel like it didn't get the attention that it deserved at that festival. So
it's
if you ever see Neil Marshall, please let him know I apologize.
20 years later.
Yeah.
It's 20 years this year. It's out. Phenomenal movie. But like as I said, I've got to sit down with 4 of the 5 of my top 5 now. So
Oh,
I'm not doing too badly.
no, that's I think you're doing pretty good.
But if we jump back to Wrong Turn, so obviously you get picked up as director. The script was done by Alan McElroy, was it? Alan.
Yeah, yeah. Alan McElroy did he did the original draft of the script, and then there were a bunch of writers on that movie. The producers hired a bunch of different writers, and then and then there was a thing that like was horrifying to when we were in pre-production, we were already like building sets and things like that. I can't remember who it was, like the prop master or somebody was like, "Hey, this movie is a lot like the episode of the X-Files called Family." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I didn't watch the X-Files really.
Yeah,
Um,
I could see that kind of.
they brought me a tape of it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I was really terrified.
Well, I mean,
My,
like, there's so many of those films that are like you see them and you see something else. You're like, oh yeah, I pretty much just watched that. Like, as I said today, I watched Judge Dredd today, and I don't know if you remember the Stallone one.
I just vaguely, I'm
Um,
mixing it up with the one Danny Waters wrote. Wait, is that Judge Dredd? Is that the one with the seashells?
no, that's Demolition Man.
Okay, I'm mixing it up with Demolition Man. Yeah,
But in Judge Dredd, there's a cannibal family that live out in the wasteland. And do you remember Wes Craven's Hills Have Eyes?
yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
But do you remember the remake? They're like that family is kind of just them.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay. But like you see it an awful lot. I never put one on one together with Wrong Turn and that episode of the X Files.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
But
That's
I'm gonna go and watch that episode of the X Files after this.
yeah.
And
I'd be curious what you think. If you think it's I just like when that happened, I was like, wow, I really want to make this movie. I don't know if that like someone along the line with the writers, you know,
I've
stole
seen it.
from that, and I'm just gonna do the best I can with the horror and with the performances and try to make the best movie I can, you know.
And then obviously you go along to casting, and I mean, when you look at the casting in this, uh, obviously probably the two big names in this one at the time were Julian Richards, who's just a legend of pretty much
Yeah.
every genre ever, because I'm pretty sure he's in every movie ever. And then you have Eliza Dushku, who was coming
Buffy and
through Buffy at that stage, or was Buffy just coming to an end at that stage?
I think she was done. I think she was done with Buffy at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. But like Buffy was ridiculously over the top popular. Like it was just over with everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Jeremy was also another one. Emmanuel, like they were all went on to be big names, but they were probably decent sized names. I was only 12 when this came out, 13.
Oh, that's a little too young, but kind of a good age to watch it, I think. I don't know if
Yeah,
you saw it then, but
I seen it in
it
2004. Yeah, when it came out.
oh wow.
When it came out
Okay.
over here. But like, there's a few of them. Lindy Booth as well went on to be
Yeah.
big. But like the casting on this was brilliant. One thing I always kind of go with on this is, so I'm not against having a lot of nudity and sex in horror. I think it goes part and parcel with it. But when I see
Yeah.
horror films that don't have it in it and don't overly rely on it, I'm like, great. You don't have to overly do it just for the sake of doing it. Now, obviously, there's that one scene in this one, but you don't see anything.
Yeah. No.
But like,
Yeah.
the story kind of runs perfectly through it. The death scenes, it was just awesome all around.
You know, there's speaking of true crime, there was a sex scene in the movie that got cut out, but it's not a sex scene anyone would want to see. In the original script, when the mountain men come into the cabin, they have sex with Lindy Booth's corpse on the bed above Eliza and Desmond.
Yeah, no,
And
I don't think it needs that.
well, it's good you don't think that, because they, like, before it was even cast, they cut it out of the script. Like, it was cut out of the script because Stan's son is a character actor, Stan Winston, and Stan was like, I talked to my son about it. There's no actor that will play that part. Like, they just won't. No one's going to want to be like the mountain man that had sex with a corpse. Yeah. So just
I get that. I get that, because then all of a sudden you're labeled. Same way thing is labeled from American Pie.
yeah.
You're the pie fucker. And I know the
Yeah.
joke is great and it's gone through on so many things, but it does hold up in that way. Do you know what I mean? But like, this movie obviously goes from 0 to 100 relatively quickly. You have the two mountain climbers at the start. What I did like is you don't really see the Hillikers for probably 40 minutes, really.
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes. You see the body of one of them, so you know he's a big unit. But the Julian Richards laugh in this is just iconic.
Julian authored that laugh. Like, that was something he came up with for the character. And there was some pressure from the producers to get him not to do it. Like, they were embarrassed by it. But yeah, it was great. It obviously, yeah, it's great, and it made it into the movie. And the thing I was really excited about was there's this fun thing you do on opening night when you have a movie released in the States, probably maybe everywhere, but in the States, like, when your movie comes out, you go from theater to theater on opening night just to see how the audiences are reacting, And it was a Friday night, and it was like kids that had gotten out of like high school and whatnot, and they were with their friends. And in the dark theater, while the movie was playing, kids would just around the theater do the Julian Richings laugh just to scare other people in the theater. And it was, yeah, it made me really happy.
Yeah, like, even the effects, the look of the three brothers.
Yeah.
phenomenal. Obviously, they went on to be more CGI as the franchise goes on, but the development of those characters, like for you, obviously directing the first one, I don't know whether you've seen the rest of them through. Have you?
No, I started to, and for me, it's I get your love of them, and I get, we're talking about food and cheese and whatnot. But for me, it's there's too much. They're too loaded for me to see and enjoy. Like probably at some point I'll sit down and watch them, but honestly, I still haven't watched them.
Yeah, they go, like, to me, they go a bit wild, but I just love the creative nature of the kills,
Yeah.
and then sort of dipping into the background story. But I do see what you mean. They do, the characters, even in the second one, Ken Kersinger plays Pa in the second one, and like he gets shot with a shotgun at one stage, and he's still walking you down, like.
Uh,
So I mean, so
yeah.
like where they were relatively, to an extent, human in the first one, bar surviving a exploding petrol tank at the end. And I'm not calling that a spoiler because the movie's been out for 21 years, 22 years.
Yeah.
But like the movie the whole way through, that you relatively protect the three brothers. I know they're the protagonists, but you don't see a whole lot of damage being done to them.
Yeah.
Apart from Julian being hit in the face with a branch and falling out of a tree. But yeah, there's some really cool scenes. The one, Emmanuel's death, was brilliant. Her eyes dilating.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite moments in horror in general.
There was a debate actually when we were doing that effect. Some people wanted the eye to blink, and some people didn't. And I think it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, But
I prefer the dilation.
Yeah, the dilation's cool. Yeah.
And then you see her body falling through it. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that was a thing about that movie that was like I realized in hindsight, it was like a giant gift to get to like work with Stan Winston and Stan Winston Studios and Shane Mahan, who runs like Legacy Effects now, because those guys are so great at making creatures and making like scenarios that involve creatures,
Yeah, well, Stan's one of the best around, really, wasn't he?
Yeah. Him and Shane were so good, and just that they had a giant factory that was just for making characters,
Yeah,
which is just nuts.
I mean, they went on, and there's a lot of people that are still that have an affection for that first one that are still weary about going into the woods.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, I talked to a few indie people, and they're going to film movies in the woods. I was like, you should watch Wrong Turn before you go in there and see what happens.
I actually, when the movie came out, the governor of West Virginia like complained about it and like protested it and everything. And but just a few weeks ago, an arts center in West Virginia invited me to screen Wrong Turn for Halloween, which I think is like super cool. I'm going to go to West Virginia where it's set, and they're going to play Wrong Turn for people that live in that part of the woods in America.
Are they flying you over?
Yeah. They're flying me over for it.
Can I come?
You're welcome to come. Yeah.
Will they fly me over?
I don't know that they'll fly you, but it would be fun to have you there. I'm very curious. I'm a little scared that they're going to like do something to me, but I think it'll be okay.
You're 100% getting dragged into those woods and left there somewhere. Figure it out, mate.
Yeah.
But obviously that also became quite a market of saturation at the time of kind of like mountain men or hillbilly inbred hillbillies and stuff. And don't get me wrong, they're fun movies. There's a lot of them that are fun. I love The Hills Have Eyes, the Alejandro Aria one.
Yeah.
There's a few bits of incidents that involve that rhyme with the word grape that I don't think are needed, but they're fun movies to watch. Like there are loads of them. Obviously another reboot they were, but did you happen to check out the reboot of Wrong Turn?
No, I haven't.
So it doesn't do anything to your one at all. It's
I heard it's very different. Someone
it's a
told me
completely different story.
if it didn't have the title, it would not be a wrong turn, is what I heard. But
Well,
I don't know.
like
I haven't seen it, so I can't say.
it has nothing to do with the Hillikers or anything. Only reason the only reason I watch it is because obviously I'm obsessed with the franchise.
Yeah.
When I seen it coming out with that name, I was like, oh yeah, I'm all in. Didn't matter. Could have been made for €1 and I'd still have been happy. And at that stage, I just watched number 6, which I'm pretty sure was filmed in Ireland. Or some of it was, and I was like, "There's far too much inbred rapey scenes in that one too, for me." But I get where they were going with the story. But then I watched The Foundation, or I think it was originally going to be called The Foundation, then it was just called Wrong Turn. But it was a completely different story, very good too. I had Jeff Seaman, who was the assistant director or assistant producer on it. I've had Cheney Morrow, who was one of the main bad guys in it, and I really enjoyed it. Now, as a Wrong Turn fan, obviously it's not the Hillikers, so I was kind of like, oh, okay, but it's good. But I think they played off the name a little bit more than. Obviously, we touched on it earlier when if it didn't have the name Texas Chainsaw, if it didn't have Dawn of the Dead on it.
Yeah.
It might have picked off the thing, but obviously Wrong Turn has quite a big fan base.
Yeah.
So I can understand it. But like getting to work alongside those talent, especially obviously Eliza went out was probably the biggest of it at that stage for you.
Yeah.
Must have been top drawer as well. Obviously, you'd worked with Monica, who'd probably been cast as the main in Freddy versus Jason at this stage.
I can't remember. We were just talking about this the other day, and we were like, we can't remember which one went first.
Well, no, Wrong Turn went first.
Yeah. Okay.
So Freddy versus Jason 2004. But
okay, yeah, because we were like actually Monica auditioned for Eliza's role in Wrong Turn, but the producers didn't want her to do it. And we were just talking the other day, and Eliza was like, if they had known that I was doing Freddy versus Jason, then I would have been worth a lot more to them at the time.
probably under an NDC as well.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, we're old, and we were like, we don't remember which was first.
Yeah. Like I love Freddy versus Jason, but it's not really a good movie to watch if you're not a horror fan of the franchises.
It's a strange one, I think. It's good, but it's strange.
It's a genius one for all horror fans that love either Friday or Nightmare or both, and every fan will love it. But if you sat down, like if I sat my missus down to watch that, she'll turn around and be like, "This is terrible. This is awful."
Because you have to know all sorts of stuff, I think, for it to work.
Yeah, you have to have watched them all. It's not one where you could just sit down, say like Wrong Turn or something where you could just sit down and be like, "There you go." Like you can't have a crossover of two iconic characters without knowing all the background.
Yeah, that's right. That makes sense.
But so yeah, like obviously yous would have been running alongside the back of that as well. So as you said, it might have worked out better if she had to go, well, I'm going to be the main in this as well.
Yeah,
but in a completely different movie. I think I don't think I'd buy her character. I haven't seen her in a few things as much a badass as Eliza did. Obviously, seen her as Faith.
Eliza just is that. Like, at the that was another thing that was fun at the opening night was I think Eliza appears first, like it's behind her back and it's her hand holding barbed wire, and
she walks out and she was tied to the tree.
Yeah, and when that shot happens, like people in the audience cheered, like they were already cheering for Eliza before they saw her face on screen,
Yeah.
So she brought that to the movie.
Yeah, well, theoretically, you see Lindy Booth first, and you see Scott, because obviously they crash in and she's in the woods already. But when she comes out with it, then you're like, yeah,
Yeah. I just meant that there were like people went to Wrong Turn when it came out.
oh, for her, yeah.
Some for her, yeah. So they were like, when is she going to show up? She's
But
the girl with the barbed wire, yeah.
That seems to be the way, though, really, doesn't it? Like there was a lot of those times when you see sort of bigger name actresses and actors cast in movies. Not now, obviously not in Wrong Turn, but you see them in some stages where they're only their main cast name and they're only in it for 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Playing
Yeah,
off the name.
Yeah, there was when I was kind of scrapping for jobs, at one point I got hired to shoot electronic press kit stuff for a movie. It wasn't Concord, but it was one of those like Roger Corman type studios, you know, and it had Gary Busey in it, and they wanted me to interview him for the press kit, you know, and I asked him what he thought of the movie, and what do you think about what do you like most about the movie? And he was like, I don't know, I've never read the script, and he just and I was like, I can't remember the cast, but I asked about the cast, and he was like, maybe I'll meet them later today, and then I'll be able to say something. Like he was literally just like hired for 3 hours, you know, to.
But that, like, when you talk about actors like that, that just seems like Gary Busey all over.
Yeah.
Doesn't give a flying fuck, but just goes in and nails everything.
Yeah. Boy, he's an interesting one, right? Because of the, I mean, it's terrible, but the motorcycle accident, like he was one actor before that and then a different actor after that, I think. But, you know.
Didn't even know he was in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, I think that he maybe got that he might have gotten an Academy Award for was it the Buddy Holly story or something like that when he was really young. And he was like a leading guy, like a guy who would play like, you know, an interesting leading guy. And then he got into like a really terrible accident that like whacked up his head. And you know, that was the second half of his career.
Oh, didn't know that. I just figured him to be the lovable idiot that he is in almost everything. I love him. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah,
I love Jake as well, to be fair.
You love who?
Jake. Is it his brother?
Oh yeah.
He's gas as well. He's brilliant in Starship Troopers and stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously, the movie went on to have tremendous success for you, and you've kind of just kept low key.
Yeah, I'm a low key person. I like being on set. I like making movies, but the politics of it are really hard for me. Like the mostly navigating executives is challenging for me. And it's super, like, as I'm saying it to you, my heart's going like, it's hard, you know? And I was doing some TV for a while, and when my daughter was 3, I was working up in Canada, you know, and we were living in LA, and she came up to visit, and she was like, she said to some strangers, my daddy lives in a hotel house. Like she thought I lived in a hotel, you know? And my wife was like, no, daddy lives with us, you know? But
he's just working. When kids come out with things like that, though, then you kind of have to think about it, and you're like, well, is this worth it, really? I'm missing large chunks of life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so I started teaching and staying closer to home, you know.
Nice.
Yeah. And now my girls are in college, so it's a different, I can kind of do what I want, which is cool. So
yeah.
Hence Italy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no, it's great. But yeah, I haven't been aggressive about making films, you know, which is what it is. But
I mean,
I've had
like,
other things.
You can say, at least you can always say, well, I have 2, I have 3 movies that are well loved and well received, or like I don't know. As I said, I can't remember. I can't remember the other one, and I haven't seen Crime and Punishment. But like
Yeah,
Wrong Turn in the horror franchise world is relatively well loved, and you started that, so
yeah. No,
you've got that claim to fame.
yeah, no, I'm like I'm very happy with my career, but it hasn't been, I haven't worked aggressively. Like actually even, my mom is 94 and she just got her first, assistant. Like she lives by herself in an apartment, and, doesn't want to move. And we were finally like, well, you need to have someone come in as an aide. And, I was just talking with her yesterday and she was like, Robert, my aide loves Wrong Turn. And like, that's super
Yes.
cool. Yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
like my mom gets to be proud of,
I used to do that as for a living for a while.
It's a hard thing to do, I think.
Yeah. I liked it. Now, I really enjoyed it. I had some really nice people that I worked with. So,
Yeah,
but times move.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Greg, I should probably hop in like 8 minutes.
oh yeah,
Do you have,
I was literally going to say I'm going to show you a couple of quick fires, and then
okay.
we'll get you out there because obviously it's bedtime along the way.
Yeah, yeah.
So throw me your top 5 favorite horror films.
Ooh, that's tough. The Exorcist, Alien, Cannibal Holocaust, Texas Chainsaw, Texas Chainsaw 2, I think. But
Nice.
but there's other ones like, uh is it 2,000 Maniacs? Is it 1,000 Maniacs?
2001 Maniacs with Robert
2001.
Englund.
Yeah. No, 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 not 2001, the original one, the black and white, I think it
Oh,
might be. Anyway, I've been thinking about that movie like a lot lately because it has a really strange scene in it. It has a really strange scene in it where a guy like cuts a woman's pinky off, and the performances are odd, like they're odd performances, but it makes it scarier because
strange.
yeah, yeah,
I, I remember the Robert Englund one and the scene where the girl goes down on one of the lads and he looks down and she's got a mouthful of razor sharp teeth.
Ooh.
I remember
I
that
want
one.
I'm looking this up now because,
Nice. Well, while you're looking that up,
okay.
if you could be handed the keys to make any horror film now, what would it be?
Ooh. You don't mean a remake, you mean like pitch a story?
No, like you could say, I want to remake Nightmare on Elm Street. I want to remake Jaws. If you had to pick a
Okay.
horror film now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The one I would want to remake is not in any way a popular one. It's a Japanese ghost story called Ugetsu Monogatari.
right?
And it's a really weird, it's a really weird, it's slow, it was made in like 1950, but it's like a really interesting and kind of beautiful movie.
Okay. I do love J horror. I think there's something they just do it better than most.
Yeah, yeah, they do interesting stuff. They have interesting ideas. And also that idea about ghosts being angry is really interesting.
Yeah, like obviously we see it now more so in terms of possession, where you see ghosts jumping at people and whatnot. But like when that came out, when the likes of the Ring came out, and it was just slow, methodically paced, The
Mm,
Grudge, and you're like, Jesus Christ,
yeah.
this was something. Obviously, the American ones I seen first, and then I seen Ringu and I seen Ju-on, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I think The Ring is better than, Ringu, but I think that Ju-on is better than The Grudge. Wait, The Grudge is better than Ju-on, I think.
Oh, them,
You may
them,
have a different opinion.
them's be bold calls right there. The Ringu is better than than the American ring, in my opinion. I think the American ring is just too long.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I do like that they went through the full story and nothing is left unturned, but I just felt it dragged a bit too long.
Yeah, it worked for me, but I hear you. And what about Ju-on?
So I take you on over the Grudge any day. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I think it was 14 when that came out. Someone had seen the Grudge in the cinema before me and told me that you could see Sarah Michelle Gellar stark naked in it. So I was like, "Yep, I'm gone." Turns out it was a lie.
Oh yeah, they tricked you.
Movie was good though. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the Grudge. But
I think
I take you on any day.
you know what I really liked in The Grudge and I thought was super interesting is creating supernatural spaces, like having like a floor in a dark room and then having like a creature that is in the shadows in a space that isn't a space. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Oh, I get
But
what you mean. Like, where they appear in the bed between the sheets that weren't there.
yeah.
And what was
I
it
was
in the second one? She comes out of the mirror behind the bed.
Yeah, it was very like psychologically disturbing for me. Like I was really into it. Like I was like, wow, that is cool, you know.
Well, I do. I'm gonna go and rewatch some of those soon. I have a little list sitting here on the thing. Anytime I'm talking to somebody and they pitch me a movie, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna type that in. And the list goes down, but it gets longer before it goes down.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
But Rob, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on. Or your
Yeah,
evening.
it was a pleasure, Greg.
And as I said, congratulations on the career and much love on Wrong Turn. You know, because I got to do it.
I'm so pleased that I made something you enjoyed. So okay,
Absolutely.
man. Have a good night.
Absolutely. Right, folks, I'll leave this the way I leave every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, stay scared.